See, now the topic is physiology of acid secretion. See, when the dietary peptides enter into the GAT of lumen, that will stimulate the G cell. Okay, once the G cell can be stimulated, then it will releases the gastrin. Okay, gastrin can be produced. It is a hormone. Then gastrin that can be enters into the blood vessel. Okay, from the blood vessel it will goes near to the enterochromaffin cell. Okay, then it will bound to the ccKB receptor, that is cholecystokinin receptor B, located on enterochromaffin cell. Then it is responsible for the release of histamine, that histamine bound to the H1 receptor, thereby secretion of HCl will be there. Another way is the gastrin also stimulate the ccKB receptor, cholecystokinin receptor, located on parietal cell. Okay, also responsible for release of HCl, that is acid in the stomach. Along with that, the parasympathetic nervous system, like that will releases the acetylcholine as a neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine that will stimulate the G cell to secrete the gastrin. Okay, as usual, the gastrin having different actions as we discussed now. Next, the acetylcholine that will inhibit the D cell, to release the somatostatin. Okay, then the acetylcholine that will bound to the M3 receptor located on enterochromaffin cell. Same, what will happen? So then it releases histamine. It will go and bind to the H1 receptor located on parietal cells. Next, acetylcholine that will bound to the M3 receptor located on parietal cells, thereby say release of acid H plus, release of acid into the GAT lumen. Then potassium that will goes into the parietal cells. Okay, once there is a more amount of acid secretion is there, okay, that is the lumen acid that will stimulate the D cell, okay. Now the D cell that will releases the somatostatin. Okay, now it will releases the somatostatin. Now the somatostatin that will inhibit the G cell to stop the release of gastrin. So this is the normal physiology of acid secretion. Here different kinds of drugs can be used. See here, proton pump inhibitor is there. See here, H plus K plus ATPase, also we can call it a proton pump inhibitor. So in order to reduce the acid secretion in peptic ulcer, we can use the proton pump inhibitors. Next, along with that, see, by acting acetylcholine, by acting on muscarinic receptor, it is responsible for the release of proton. So we can give anticholinergic drugs. Along with that, antihistaminic drug, because histamine that will bound to the H1 receptor, thereby responsible for a release of acid. So we can use the antihistamines also. So antihistamines, anticholinergic and proton pump inhibitors can be used in the to reduce the acid secretion in the peptic ulcer.